Hi, everybody. Hearing the behind the scenes stuff of what's going on with my new computer.
Yeah, that's one of the perks of being here live.
Yeah, for
Can you
sure.
hear us talking between the events?
Exactly. How is everybody doing today? I'm seeing that you guys, there's a full house. I love this. How is everybody doing? What is it? What month are we in? We're almost in April, right? I'm like, I can't even believe how fast everything's going. Hello, Missy. Hi, Angie. I'm so happy to see you guys here. Okay, let me just figure this still out. I'm still a little bit working this out. Where's the chat? Okay, cool. All right. Well, I would love to know, where are you guys coming from? So there's a chat room. Go into the chat room and say hello and let me know where you guys are coming from. I would love to know it. Send it over. Hello from Atlanta. Anna is from Atlanta. Very cool. Where else? Where else do we have people from? Missy, you are from Cincinnati. Angie's from Bluebell, Pennsylvania. Zimbabwe. Very cool. How do you pronounce your name? Rushko? Rushko? I don't even know if that's your name. It just might be your email. Katie, Texas. Sandra. Okay. Wow, Zimbabwe. What time is it in Zimbabwe right now? It's funny. I just hired somebody today who works in Nigeria, who lives in Nigeria, and I'm on the same time zone as she is, and I live in Barcelona. So that I thought that was kind of interesting. Oh, so it's 5 p.m. for you. So you're 1 hour ahead. Okay, that's interesting because it's 4 p.m. here in Barcelona right now. Where else are you guys coming in from? You could just put it in the chat box. The more interactive you guys are, the better. Also, if you want to take a little break and walk around and just kind of get that blood flowing, if a lot of you have been sitting through the majority of these presentations, go for it. So this way you are bright and awake and fully mobile for my presentation so that you guys could get interactive and enjoy it just as much. All right, so let me begin. Today, I want to chat with you guys about how to simplify your day trading with 4 steps so that you could dominate under any market condition, including this consolidating market that's happening right now with a few ups and downs on a daily basis. Watching the market lately is just like, oh my God, I don't know if it's going to go up, if it's going to go down. And every single day, it just keeps on like bouncing back and forth, right? So this is fine. This is just a massive consolidation area. I know that a lot of people are freaking out and all this, but there's really, you just got to sit and wait it out. The market does this all the time, and especially through moments of transition and uncertainty, which is what we literally are in at the moment, right? Well, I always feel like we're in a transition and uncertainty, but some times it's more than others, right? When there's massive changes going on, when there's massive disruptions going on. So I would not really worry too much about it. If anything, just watch it for what it is. So today I'm going to actually show you guys, for you to be able to understand these conditions much better, to be able to master them, right? Because if you're not really sure what is going on and just kind of sitting there without understanding what the market is telling you, it will be a pretty difficult time, right? So I am Marina, the Trader Chick, and this is me. Hello, everybody. And I live in Barcelona. As I mentioned earlier, it's 4 p.m. here right now, which is kind of ironic, kind of not ironic, kind of weird, because in the US, you guys had your daylight savings time changed, I think, like 2 weeks ago. In Spain, we have it this Sunday coming up. So there is a period of 6 weeks during the year where we are 5 hours difference versus the rest of the year when it is 6 hours. And it's quite confusing. Grateful for Google Calendar, because that's probably the only thing that keeps me like going with the flow. Otherwise, I would never know what time it is anywhere. It's crazy. I've definitely missed many moments of not understanding. And before this, I've actually been an expat for over 20 years at this point. No, that's not true. 20, well, it is over 20 years, but 22 years I've been an expat. And we lived in Central America, Costa Rica and Guatemala for 20 years. And there's no daylight savings time there ever because it's the tropics. So we're pretty close to the equinox. So, you don't really need to have a daylight savings time. So this whole daylight savings time thing is really new to me. It's been 2 decades that I lived without it, which I don't really miss it. It could get kind of confusing, and I don't really like the fact that we lose an hour coming up. So it's a little bit chaotic. But other than that, I am Marina, the Trader Chick, and I am an expat. And I always get people really, really interested to learn about moving to another country and just being expats, even if it is only for like a year or two, just to give it a shot. I would love to answer your questions. It's better done through email. I get quite a few people asking me how. And the biggest question I usually get is, can you day trade and how's the internet? Yeah, you could day trade in Europe, especially. It's great. The market just recently opened. Um, and there's no more worry about internet. You can't use the lack of internet as an excuse unless you're going camping in some backcountry, right? And chances are that's not where you're going to go and live. So that's not really a problem ever, right? And before I was a day trader, I was actually a fitness instructor. And the main reason I bring this up is because a lot of people have this, I don't know, this misconception that you have to come from an engineering background or a math background, a financial background, an economic background. None of that is true. I literally was a fitness instructor before and a travel writer. I'm still a travel writer. I have a travel website, which has been my very first business online. I started about 18 years ago. And the reason why day trading actually really, really works for me and my family is because we actually travel 3 to 4 months out of the year. I actually literally an hour ago before the markets opened, bought tickets for me and my son and my mom to go to Japan for a month. We're going to go to Tokyo and Kyoto for a month. So even though that sounds fantastic, travel for the month, I do work. I still do trade during that time. So for me, for us, travel is not a luxury, it's a necessity, like, because we can't live without it. And being a day trader, it's just so compatible with that kind of a lifestyle. Obviously, you could do it from anywhere in the world for only 1 or 2 hours at most per day. Most of the time I do like 30 minutes. So it's really, really awesome. So I also speak 3 languages. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because I learned a language in my later years when I was already in my late 20s. I recognized something with the market. So I was born in the Soviet Union. So Russian was my mother tongue. We moved to the United States when I was really young. I was 6 years old. And I didn't actually learn English as much as I just learned how to talk. So it wasn't like an intentional, I'm going to learn a new language. It was, pretty, I think within 3 to 5 months, I was fluent. It's just, kids get it that quickly. However, Spanish I learned when I was in my late 20s when we first moved to Central America, to Costa Rica. And when you learn a new language, it's a whole process, right? It's an entire process. You have to commit, you have to practice, you have to be disciplined, and you really have to take your time. And especially when you're learning a new language, in the beginning, everything is going through like a translation process in your head when you get the words in or when you want to get the words out. But then if you are consistently committed and disciplined, one day you wake up and you simply speak the language. I don't need to translate anything anymore. I mean, there's definitely going to be some stuff that I would need in Spanish because it's not my native tongue, obviously, and I'm pretty much fluent. But on a whole, I don't translate anything anymore, right? I could just have a conversation. And so I struggled with trading for a good 2 years when I first began. I've been now trading for almost 13 years. And I think when I recognized that the market has its own language, that we could understand what the market is saying to us, and it's literally talking to us, and understand that language, everything changed for me. Everything changed for me. And whenever I bring that up to people and point that spotlight on that aspect of it, people are like, oh, yes, that makes total sense. and they start to treat it as such and become better traders. So today I want to actually show you how you could utilize that in a very basic, simplified version and have a great time with it. And like I said before, you could do trading from anywhere in the world. It's the greatest thing, right? So before COVID, I know COVID's been now 5 years. Is that absolutely crazy? It's literally been 5 years since the world shut down. I can't even believe it. But beforehand, I used to go to all these in-person events, and I've actually just restarted it here in Barcelona, since Barcelona doesn't have that many of its own. I started to do them here now live. So if anybody wants to come to Barcelona, I will be having some live in person here as well. And Barcelona is just such a beautiful city. Oh, it's such a fantastic place to live. Anyways, so I used to do a lot of in-person, like the Money Show, the Traders Expo, just had a really good time doing that. So before I jump into the presentation, I would love to give you the presentation completely for free. First of all, so you could follow along with me right now. And secondly, David always records everything, so then you'll be able to go at your own pace. So go to makingofadaytrader.com, makingofadaytrader.com, and you could go and get the live presentation right there from this link, okay, right away for free. So go there. This way you can follow along. It'll just make a lot more sense, and you'll just have a lot more fun as well. So go to makingofadaytrader.com. Okay, what are the basics of day trading? Just like when you start to learn a new language, you start with the basics, right? I want to give you guys this visual. If you want to learn Spanish and you don't know how to speak Spanish, are you going to enter a room with 6 other native speaking Spanish people who don't speak a word of English? And do you think you're going to be able to get in and have a full-blown conversation with them? I just want you guys to really, really conceptualize that. Chances are no, right? I mean, it's ludicrous to even think that you're going to be able to that you're going to understand what 6 people are saying in Spanish, respond, and have a good conversation with them, right? It's not possible. Yet, how many people are putting in their hard-earned money into the markets, not understanding a single word or a single thing that is going on, and expecting to make money when they don't even know if they're buying or selling, shorting or going long? It's incredible to me, like the most basics, right? And I know for a fact, and I could bet the farm on this, that if you just learn a few basic things, your entire trading and your way of looking at the financial markets will completely be revolutionized, right? You cannot sit and listen to somebody tell you that this is a great place to enter when you don't even know what you're looking at, right? Just because they make it sound fancy and that they say that it's a good place doesn't mean that it's a good place for you. And it's even worse place for you if you don't know what you're even looking for. Yet that's why 95% of the population of who say they are traders fail. And then they're like, oh, it's so risky, it's terrible. Well, that's because they have no idea what they're doing. They're entering a room full of Spanish speakers and not even knowing how to say, hola, mi nombre es Marina, right? So it's the same thing with day trading, the financial markets on a whole. Okay, you guys need to understand the basics. Even if you want to hand it over, and the worst thing you could possibly do is go and buy some sort of an alert subscription or something like that, because all the alerts, every single alert subscription you'll ever get, you get the alert after it's already done. This is just a little bit of a tip I'm going to give you. And even so, if you get the alert, guess what? If you don't know what you're looking at, what are you going to do with that alert? Okay, so you need to understand that you need to at least have the basics if you even do want to take the shortcuts of going through alert systems or, these indicators or these algorithms that normally don't make any sense. So most important of all, you need to have a platform. You need to have a platform. You cannot be a Formula One driver in a minivan, right? It sounds ridiculous, and you would never even think that. Yet it's amazing the amount of people that don't have any clue how to trade are usually putting in really good money on, silly apps on their phone that aren't real platforms, that aren't really, some of them are even delayed feed, which just totally blows my mind. So you need to have a strong platform. You need the platform. And today there are so many different platforms, and a lot of them you could do for free. You do not need to start with paying money for them, but you do need to do that. And the cool thing about platforms is that they give you free universal indicators, and the majority of them have hundreds of indicators. So you do not need to go and spend money on a fancy, blinking red lights, whatever you want to call it, type of indicators that really don't help at all anyways, when you get all those indicators already for free with the software, with the platform that you have. Okay, super important. All right, guys, so let's break this down. Let's understand the most important part of anything you're looking at, and that is a trend. We have to understand the breakdown of a trend. So technically we have three trends. Okay, we know that there's an upward trend. We know that there's a downward trend, but the most important trend, and I truly believe this, and I know that majority of pro traders will tell you the same, is the sideways trend. Why is that important? Because this is where all the money usually gets lost. I can guarantee if you guys go into your trading journals, into your whatever, however you keep track of your trades, you will notice that the majority of your money gets lost or you lose in consolidating markets, in a sideways market, in the chop, in the channel, in the transition, in the indecision zone, in the exhaustion pattern, whatever you want to call it. It's all the same thing. It's flat. It's going nowhere. It's bouncing in between two areas, and you need to just chill out and wait to see what happens. And these happen all the time. Okay, it's really important to be on top of these types of trends, to be able to stay out of them, because one of the most important things that you'll learn is once you know how to spot these areas, you'll know when to stay out of them, and you'll also know when they are either breaking or transitioning, and that's when the best trades are being made. Okay, so just a really quick recap. What is an upward trend? An upward trend is literally that. It's the market moving up, right? It's each pivot is higher than the other. It's the bull market. It's the market trending up. It's the market going up. That's it. This is where you enter a long or you buy. All right. That means you're entering at a low price point, exiting at a higher price point. That's it. This is what it looks like when you are longing. You are going up, going long. Okay, you're buying at a lower price point, exiting at a higher price point. Now the opposite of that is the downward trend, and downward trends are obviously, each pivot is lower than the other, and this is really important because traders probably make more money on the downward trend than they do on the upward trend, simply because the downward trends seem to go down faster. And when you know the technical analysis, which is what we'll be covering today, you'll be able to truly optimize and monetize these areas. So what do you do when you have a downward trend? You short the market, you sell. What does that mean? That means literally one thing. You enter high, you exit low, and you take the profit in between. Nothing fancy, guys. Don't overthink it. Don't do anything other than that. It's you're entering high, exiting low. That's it. So this is really great. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that movie, The Big Short, because that shows you the biggest short that has probably ever been done in history, when a few people shorted the housing market, right? Because they foresaw that it was going to start to completely pummel. And that's why they came out, really wealthy, unfortunately, to the expense of the rest of the population. But when you're doing shorts and selling on smaller scales, nobody really gets hurt. Okay, shorting the market. This is when the market is going down. This is when you are banking on the market to continue. This is what we call the bear market as well. Okay, guys, let's talk about these sideways areas. I call them the trader's worst enemy. And how do we spot them? And how do we avoid them? That is what I'm going to be showing you today. Because once you are able to spot them and avoid them, the amount of money you'll be able to save and be able to spot new trades is unlimited. And it's truly one of the most liberating things that you will be able to learn. And the best part about it is that it's really simple and you could do it on any chart and on any market because it's the same exact thing. All right. So what is a consolidating market? It's literally a market that just bounces in between two areas. Even if it's a pretty wide channel, sometimes you don't want to really go anywhere because the market is just bouncing in between those two areas, right? So why is it that we end up losing the majority of the money in these areas? Funny enough, it's not because of the actual area. It's what your mind is doing to you about that area. So for instance, when there are certain traders that are the trend is your friend kind of a trader, they look at these areas and they say to themselves, you know what, the market's been going up, it's got to continue, I'm going to continue going long. And then you have the contrarian trader, and they look at these markets and they're like, you know what, the market's been going long all day, it's got to correct, I'm going to short it. So both people are incorrect completely. Why? Because the market is going to do what the market is going to do. It is just flat, guys, and you just have to understand that. And the most important thing during these types of time areas is you just need to sit out on your hands. You cannot be, manipulating your mind to get into any trades. There aren't any trades to get into. So it's okay to sit and wait. It's completely okay to sit and wait it out until the market will give you confirmation. And the market will give you confirmation. Okay, it does. It will give you the confirmation that you need. So, knowing, understanding those consolidation areas and understanding these transition areas will completely save you financially, and it will also be able to tell you when these markets shift and change. And that is the most important thing that we can understand, okay? Because they happen all the time, and sitting out on our hands is a really important thing. I don't know if any of you guys have ever seen there's a show on Netflix called The Crown. It's a really beautiful, brilliantly done series. Anyways, there's this one scene where Queen Elizabeth, Princess Elizabeth became Queen Elizabeth, and she was figuring out her strategy and what she has to do. And her mother said the most important action you will ever take is taking no action at all. And that sounds kind of, oxymoronic or, weird in that respect. But the reality is that's exactly what we have to do a lot of times. Not doing anything could sometimes be the most action-packed thing you will do. And usually it's just sitting on your hands. Okay. So now we need to really understand and talk about market area and the bouncing and the areas that define these consolidation channeling areas. And what it is the market respects areas. And what are these areas? They are the support and resistance, right? That's all you need to really know, support and resistance. And once you understand what a support and resistance looks like and the actual benefit of putting them on your charts, that is when you'll be able to understand when to get in or when not to get in as well. Okay, so another thing is that the market respects areas, meaning if there's an area that's happening, it could revisit it during the day, during the week. It will depend on your time frame, but it can revisit those areas. Okay, so this is what it looks like when you have both your support and resistance area. But what is a resistance area? What exactly is it? So a resistance area is the ceiling of the market, meaning that the market is going up, and all of a sudden it starts to hit an area over and over and over again, right? It starts to hit an area. That is the resistance. It's just a ceiling. That's all it is. It's just a ceiling, and you need to draw it in. You need to draw them in. You cannot just give yourself a mental resistance area. Okay? So what does that mean? It means you need to draw it in because everything happens to the left of the chart. When you are entering the trade, you look to the left. And on the left, you will see why you made the right decision to enter that trade. Because when you are in a live market with your live money, it is literally pretty much the same amount of adrenaline as you would have if you were a Formula One racer. That's how pumped up you are. Okay. So if you have nothing drawn to the left, you're going to be flustered and freaking out. Why did I just put my money in there? But if you have everything drawn out and you understand why you did this, why you made that decision, you'll be fine. You did the work. That's the due diligence. So that is going to be the most important part of all, right? And I just want to really, really emphasize one thing about trading, which so many people, I can immediately tell you when somebody talks only about making money versus making the right decisions. The people that are in it for the $1,000 a day, $10,000 weeks, they will be losing $1,000 a day and probably more. But the people that understand that it's all about decisions and you leading up to the right decision, those are the pro traders. That is what truly, truly defines a pro trader. It's making the right decisions. Are you making the right decisions? Are you looking to the left of your chart when you enter that trade and knowing that I just made the right decision? That is where it really is the gap between pro traders and losers. Okay, resistance. Again, like I said earlier, the market will revisit areas over and over again. This is one of my sessions. I normally trade between 30 to an hour at most, so I don't sit around for a long time. And during that time, it could revisit those areas. So if it's already an area that's been done and revisited, I'm certainly not entering into there because I know that it's an area that could push everything down, transition, or keep that market in a consolidation, right? And what is a support area? It's literally the floor of the market. It is when the market is bouncing and hitting down over and over again. It's going from a working in a downward trend and it's hitting over and over again. It's just the opposite of a resistance area, right? So it's a floor of the market. And again, you need to draw these in. And the thing is, guys, with platforms, even if it's a free platform, they all have drawing tools, even if it's as basic as drawing a line, just to keep you aware of what's going on. Okay, you don't have to write things out and make fancy arrows and just, completely clutter your chart. You could just have a line and it will just be a quick acknowledgement. Oh, that's an area. So support area, the floor of the market. Now we have the channels, right? So you have a clear distinction. You have the resistance area and the support area. So I know that you're looking at this chart right now right here, right now, and you're saying to yourself, well, of course it's a channel, but you will be surprised if those areas were not drawn in. You would not know it, especially if your money is live and your adrenaline is pumping and blood is pumping through you. I can guarantee that. Okay. So just draw them in. It takes nothing to draw them in, but it will give you 100% relief when you are in the market live. All right. And then you also get to see these channels. Like you're looking at this is so grindy and so ugly. Like, would you ever really want your money to go into something looking like that? No, look at it. It's just bouncing back and forth. It's total choppy behavior, right? Really choppy behavior. So you need to draw these guys, you need to draw them in. It's simple, it's easy. You just need to draw them in. So now I want to talk about reversal areas and divergences and why I call them maps, a trader's map to shift in direction and trend. Why these areas are so important. because they will be able to help you spot the channels, the transition areas, the choppiness before they become a real thing. Usually you might lose on the beginning of one, but you can avoid it. And so reversal areas and divergences are those things that could truly prevent you. And they are my absolute holy grail. I cannot do anything without these. So reversal areas are pretty simple. Double tops, triple tops, double bottoms, triple bottoms, head and shoulders, okay? I love reversal patterns. Are they 100% signs of reversals? No, but they are a very high probability. And what they are 100% for sure is that the market is completely losing its steam and energy. And you don't want to put your money into a market that is truly dying down, right? Like you just don't want to do something like that. So reversal patterns. This is a beautiful, perfect double bottom. Now, if you look here, what is the divergence? So I live for divergences. There's nothing that I do without watching for divergences. I personally use two indicators. I use the EMA lines and I use the MACDs. To me, the MACDs, which is the red dots that you see on the bottom, they are probably the most important indicators I use. Why? Because they're also the least lagging indicator that you will find. Meaning, for instance, if you have a volume indicator, it's delayed. So you don't fully know what is actually happening. But with the MACDs, they're not as delayed, which really makes a big difference, right? So when I have my price action going in one direction and my MACDs going in another direction, that's the divergence. And that screams to me that the market is losing its strength. And I have to sit and wait until it evens out, breaks divergence, or completely changes direction. And when I see a reversal pattern with divergence, I just fully stay out. And if I just happen to be in a trade, I get out as quickly as possible because I don't know what's happening next. Okay. That is the most important thing of all. So guys, go here again, makingofadaytrader.com. This is where you can get the cheat sheet and then have the entire presentation once David puts up the replay to go over it with the cheat sheet. Okay, so let's spot and figure out breakout trades. One of the most important trades, probably one of the most successful trades out there, are the breakout trades. And when you are able to spot those breakout trades, that's when you could truly start to really monetize them. So let's figure out how to spot these breakouts and start to monetize them. So what is a breakout? First of all, what is a breakout? So imagine a trend that's going up. And all of a sudden, it is this massive consolidation, right? Like the slowdown is just bouncing between two areas. And then, boom, it breaks out and it goes up again in the same direction. That is a breakout. Because if it does not break out and goes to the opposite direction, that's a new trend. That's a transition. So a breakout is when you're continuing in one direction and you have a lot of strength in that direction. And usually breakouts are some of the highest probability trades that you can find out there. And I'm going to show you another really, really high probability trade in just a minute. But here's a perfect example, right? The market's been going up flat, ugly, flat behavior. And then all of a sudden, boom, it continues upward. Okay. So this is how I enter my trades. Like I said, you cannot be listening to entry points or exit points if you don't even know what you're looking at. And I find that the majority of people don't know what they're looking at and they don't want to put in the effort, but they throw their money at, you know, these alerts, these chat rooms, all of these things, and without understanding what's happening, and they're still losing, and then they're really even more confused. Okay. So I personally have order weightings. So what is an order weighting? It is you telling the market where you want to enter that market, meaning that you are in control of the market. For instance, if you go in market, that means you enter because you're looking at this you're looking at your chart and you're like, you know what? That looks really good. It's continuing. I'm just going to hop in there. So the market automatically gives you a penalty. It's called slippage. I don't know if any of you have ever heard that, but slippage is usually around 20% fine. I call it a fine. So basically what happens is if you want to enter, let's say something that costs $1, where you're going to enter is at $1.20. It's usually a 20%. And this goes the same when you exit. If you exit just at like market exit, you also get slippage. So for instance, if you decided to exit at $1, you'll probably be exiting at 80 cents. So you will lose that 20 cents. Okay, so this is what I do. I look at my EMAs, I'm looking at the MACDs, they're running beautifully, super powerful, and then I put in an order waiting and I wait for the market to fill me in at the price that I tell the market I want to be filled in at. And once that is done, zero slippage, zero penalty, and then I am in full control. Okay, so as I mentioned earlier about the other trend trade that I really, really love. It's a new trend trade. I call it initial reaction trade setup. Why? So basically what happens is you'll eventually hit some sort of an area. Usually you hit an area, rarely it just shifts, very rarely it will do that. It'll give you a little bit of notice, even if it's just one quick reversal pattern. But once it's shifted, and it starts a new trend, the earlier you are able to spot it and get in, again, strategically, not just because you're jumping in and you think it's going to work. The earlier you get in, the better the odds. Why? Because think of yourself when you're going jogging, right? Imagine you want to go jogging. You are in full energy mode right as you exit your door, right? So if I was to put money on you running for 2 miles, it'd probably be at the doorway. However, I don't think I would come to you 2 miles in because you might be tired, you might just want to go home, whatever, right? So the same goes for a new trend. The earlier you get in, the higher the probability is that it's going to go further. Okay. So remember, I have all of this here at makingofadaytrader.com. Now, here's my question to you guys. Here's the thing, first and foremost. We have everything we need, right? We have absolutely everything we need. We have these amazing summits where there's tons of experts speaking. We have YouTubers, we have podcasts, we have newsletters, books, we have all this information, right? But then at the very end, when it really, really matters, how do you know you are doing it right? Who is there telling you that you are doing it right? That's the most important thing of all, right? How? How do you know you're doing it right? And all of this is actually really great. But at the end of the day, your real question is, how do I truly get started? How do I truly get started? And this is not something I get asked by beginners only. I get this asked often by seasoned traders as well, who are still not consistent and are constantly asking me, how can I be profitable consistently? And usually it's lacking the basics, right? Just as you would enter the room and not know a single word in Spanish, if you are entering a room with a bunch of Spanish speakers, if you enter the room and at least give them a basic understanding your level, they will immediately go to that level as well. Okay, so understanding the basics can literally change your life. It's literally so interestingly enough, because at this point we are grown adults, we forget when we first learned how to drive a car. But when we originally sat down into our car, guess what? We are learning the basics, right? We didn't know where the clutch was. We didn't know where the gear shift was. We didn't know where the brakes, the accelerator, where the windshield wipers are, right? Those are the basics. Today we get in and we just know where everything is and we can maneuver it any way we want it. But those are basics at one point. Okay. Now I want you to just really, really close your eyes and imagine somebody entering your car and they have never been in a car before. And you say to them, buckle up, it's going to save your life. And they're looking around and they're like, buckle up. What am I buckling up? No one taught them the seatbelt. Okay. Yeah, we forget that we actually learned what a seatbelt is at one time. We are not born with this information. So once we learn it, boom, we can actually save our lives with it. And that's a basic, right? And that was literally my own sad truth. I spent over $20,000 alone on my trainings. I sat in all these different chat rooms. I had all these alerts. So that's why I could say from my own personal experience, those things do not work. They just take away from you. They make things a lot harder. Okay. So my sad truth was that I was sitting in these rooms, not understanding why they were saying what they were saying. I was trying to keep up with them. I was losing miserably and struggling for years, to the point where it came to when I lost almost $4,000 in 5 minutes. And then I just had a breakdown, because at that point I was just losing. I was just depressed because I felt like such a loser. And then I ended up quitting. I just walked away. I quit. But here's the thing: every single person in this room is bit by the trading bug, right? We are all bit by the trading bug, and it never stops itching. And do you know why? Why that is? Because deep down inside, we know that we can do this. When I quit for about 4 or 5 months. I can't remember anymore. It's quite a while ago. But I just remember vividly knowing and understanding that I could do this. If others can do this, I can do it as well. And I was trying to figure out, what is it? What is holding me back? Until I realized that it was the basics. And when I came back, so at one point I had 3 charts going on, over 10 indicators. It was just absolute mayhem. I was in constant analysis paralysis. And I ended up I took 2 of my monitors. I had 3 monitors, 2 of my monitors, and I donated them to the garbage men, literally almost brand new high definition monitors. And then I eliminated all of my indicators. I eliminated all of my indicators. Why? Because I went full on bare naked charts, and I just really wanted to understand how I could implement things that work for me. Because what happens is we listen to all these gurus, and they all have different ideas of different indicators. And then they realize that they don't work. And that was for me. So I used to have over 10 indicators, the Kettler bands, the Bollinger bands, Fibonacci's. And when I removed everything and started to put very, very few indicators back, as you can see today, I only have 2. One thing I realized is that the Fibonacci's, the Bollingers, and the Kettler bands, they are not my thing. And it's okay. It's okay. And that has to be something that is okay for you guys as well. All right, guys. So interestingly enough, a few years back, one of my students says to me, Marina, your entire teaching philosophy is very similar to Coach John Wooden. And I never heard of Coach John Wooden before until this guy mentioned it. So of course I looked him up, and he was the legendary coach of Los Angeles, okay, of LA, what is it? I think University of Los Angeles, for the basketball team. He was the most legendary coach ever. And his entire teaching and training philosophy was, when in doubt, get back to the basics. And I mean, this guy has accolades up the wazoo, right? He has 88 national championships, 10 double NCAAs. I mean, this guy is the real deal. And his entire philosophy, get back to the basics. Why? Because he trained with A-star basketball players, but they could have egos, and your ego could easily take over. And so every season when they began, he would put them back into their place. Start from the basics. Yeah, you might have just won the NCAA, but you start from the basics, because if you don't know how to tie your shoe, if you forget to roll up your sock, if you don't remember how to dribble, guess what? You could completely hurt yourself, right? If your shoe isn't tied properly and you're running down the court and you trip, you could be sitting out for the rest of the season. Doesn't matter how many trophies you've got. So today I have a very special offer for you guys only. It's only for the participants of today's event. Only for you guys. I have a very special offer. It's my introductory course called Bootcamp for Day Trading, and it is for $97. So right now, I want you guys to stop everything. Stop everything. Stop your scrolling, stop your talking, and just focus for the next 5 minutes. I promise you will truly, truly be grateful. So just stop for a second and go into your navigator and put in bootcampfordaytrading.com. If you're having an issue with it, just type it, just open it up and make sure that you don't have the S there. So it's HTTP, the colon //. All right, so go here with me so that you can follow along and see everything that I am offering. Here's what you guys will get for the $97. First of all, if you like to play golf, I mean, we moved from Guatemala a couple of years back, and we used to play golf. When we first moved to Guatemala over 16 years ago, it was like 29 bucks per person. Before we left, it was $119 per person. Now, if you want to go out for lunches, today for a lunch for me and my husband with a glass of wine each might be around $97, maybe more. Okay. So if you want to do this, $97, this is what you guys could get for $97. That will completely 10x your return of investment. So let me break it down for you. First of all, you're going to get the prequel, meaning I know that it could be complicated setting up your platforms. I've been there, done that. So I have a tutorial that works with pretty much any platform because they're really similar. And we go through it. And this way you don't have to, oops, hang on a second, what just happened here? This way you don't have to worry about learning the platform. You could go right into the really fun stuff, which is the trading, right? So we get that out of the way, and we do that together. Then we learn the market anatomy. We truly break it down, understanding those trends, the sideways movements, how to implement reversals and divergences. Because reversals for me, I absolutely love them. And we'll be able to understand the telltale signs, which is also the support and resistance areas, and divergences. I love divergences. They are my holy grail. And they will be able to keep you out of so many bad trades and let you get into really, really good trades because they are right there, super easy to spot, as long as you know what you're looking at. And that's what we go over. And then we're going to learn how to master the breakout, because the power of the breakout is the greatest power you could have. It's one of the most popular trades out there. And if you don't know what you're looking for, you're going to miss it. And the other thing is fake out breakouts. They are real. So we're going to learn how to avoid them. Okay. All of this is included in the curriculum, and you will have full access, unlimited, lifetime for the whole course. $1,600 is the value. You get it for $97. So everything here that you are getting is valued at $1,600. And here's what some of my students, I have students from all over the world, because that's the cool thing about trading. You can do it from anywhere in the world. All right, guys. Michelle says, best money ever spent. I just finished the boot camp. Best money spent. Derek, you're the only mentor that truly, truly checks the work. That is absolutely amazing. Adrian, I am enjoying your boot camp, and I am learning every day. So let me share something really important with you guys. Remember one thing that I asked you before? How do you know that you are doing it right? How do you know you're doing it right? So what I'm going to be including is in this special is one entire month of one-on-one unlimited coaching with me for 1 month. 1 month, you get to ask me all your questions. You get to be understanding if you are doing it right, because a lot of times it's literally looking at the chart and just tweaking it a little bit. And I'm going to be there to support you, because all it takes is a little bit of support, and that could take you to that pinnacle, to the next place. Okay. And I am going to be here for that. So that is included in the $97. And so it's priceless, right? And it's $97 one-time fee. And also all of this is $2,600. $97 for you guys. Bootcampfordaytrading.com. So I want you guys to go here right now to bootcampdaytrading.com. This is what you guys are going to be getting. Everything in the course. 30 days one-on-one mentorship with me, and 30 days live chat room. I actually also have a chat room, but we go in it together. It's me, no one else, and you're going to be implementing everything that you are learning. This is all less than one trade. I don't know about you guys, but my average trades are usually between $200 to $400. This is less than the price of one trade. And this will 10x your return on your investment. So you can go to 100 of these lunches with your friends or family and both. Just one really quick thing. Because of my mentorship that I'm giving you, because I really want to give you my attention, I could only take on 25 students to really, really guide you guys and give you my time. So I only have space for 25 students. Usually gets sold out pretty quick. I'm just letting you know because $97 is, it's kind of a no-brainer. So let me show you here. You go to bootcampfordaytrading.com. Go in for bootcampdaytrading.com right here. And this is where you will be taken to. So let me give you this right here. This is the order form. Let me just go over the order form here with you. 1 second. Okay, so I just put in the link into the chat box as well, so you guys could follow along with me. All right, so as you can see here, one-time payment, $97. If you do need a payment plan, it's 59 bucks twice, but you get access automatically to the whole course immediately. So you'll have access to absolutely everything that we just talked about. Power of the breakout, mentorship with me for 1 month, understanding the breakout, also the market anatomy, all of this, and I will help you set up your platform if you have any issues at all so that you don't have to worry at all about that. Okay, let me know if you guys have any questions at all. So go here right now, bootcampfordaytrading.com, and let me know if you have any questions, and I'm super happy to help you guys work it all out. All right, let me know if there's anything at all. And thank you so much for taking your time to be here. And thanks, David, again, for inviting me. I truly love these, and especially the March one, because it's all of these incredible women. I love it. When I first began 13 years ago, I cannot even tell you how few of us were here. I think it was less than 1%. And now I know that it's a lot more, especially David is able to find like the best of the best, but we're still only make up maybe like 10%. So I'm just really grateful to be part of that 10% of these women traders. And it's just really beautiful to watch it evolve. So thank you, everybody. And thanks, David, again. And let me know if there's questions. And if not, see you in the boot camp.